Paddy land, lifeblood of the farmer. Agriculture, backbone of the nation's economy. Rice fields make up 1/6 of all the cultivated land in Malaya. They are the sole means of livelihood for hundreds of thousands of our rural dwellers. By custom and tradition, rice growing is an occupation largely confined to Malays. For centuries, they've lived and worked on their land, built their homes on the fringes of the paddy. The whole structure of kampong society revolves round the planting season and the harvest. Rice is a seasonal crop, and because of this, the farmer is never fully engaged all the year through. Holdings, which once could support a family, have dwindled through division with each succeeding generation. Hence, most farmers, weighed down by debt, lead a hand-to-mouth existence. Muda, son of Sulong, is a typical example. Recently married, he brought his wife Mina home to live with his people. What was just a bare subsistence for one family now becomes poverty for all. Such is the plight of most farmers today. But nowhere else is the situation more desperate than in Kelantan, where over 43,000 families living in the overcrowded plains are in need of land. With little to do until the harvest, Muda spends his time in the garden. How he wishes he had more land to grow other crops, so that he could use his time profitably throughout the whole year. Fishing by the pond, Muda's face reflects his worry as he ponders. Can his luck ever improve? Or is he doomed to the uncertainty of a bleak and dismal future? Something had to be done, and done immediately. The government accepted the challenge. The Federal Land Development Authority was set up to tackle the problem of development and settlement of land with a view to creating new wealth for the farmer and for the country. The first major scheme was launched in Kelantan. The state government straightaway earmarked 4,000 acres in the Tanah Merah district for this purpose. Each family would receive 10 acres of land, 6 to be planted with rubber, 2 with paddy, and the rest with citrus and other fruits. In this way, the settler would be fully employed and his land utilized to capacity. Lanas, a large tract of fertile land under virgin jungle, watered by several streams and close to road and rail communications, was shown by a survey to be ideal for agriculture. Now, most important, the best farmers, those with skill and enterprise, had to be chosen to make this great experiment successful. Penghulus and ketuas, under the direction of the district officer, toured the countryside to explain the scheme to the people. A quota of settlers was drawn up for each district. Selection boards were formed to choose the most deserving from the hundreds who applied. At a final interview, 400 promising families were selected. Here they were told that they would be temporarily housed at the site which had been opened up by government, that they would be provided with implements and tools to clear the land, materials to build their houses, paddy seed and high-yielding rubber, and all the resources and skill of the government and its experts. They got down to the job immediately. It must not fail. On the success of this scheme depends the development of similar projects in other parts of the country. The first task was to clear the jungle. All the valuable timber had since been extracted. Here, in teams of 100 men, they worked shoulder to shoulder on a cooperative basis, for no settler could claim his plot of land until the whole area had been cleared. The men carry out this pioneering work with vigor and determination, inspired by the hope and promise of the beginning of a new and better life. Soon, the first area is ready for cultivation. Dry paddy seed, obtained from agricultural stations, is distributed free, for self-sufficiency is of prime importance in the settlement. Burning has enriched the topsoil, and no time must be lost to finish planting the hill paddy. Everyone is out, the men to dig the holes with spikes, followed by the women who drop the seeds into them. This is only a temporary measure. Later, when the land has been fully developed, rubber will be planted on these slopes and wet paddy grown in the low-lying areas. Meanwhile, the settlers are erecting their houses with materials supplied by government, and Muda is putting the finishing touches to his new home. In this pioneering life, a woman's influence is necessary to bring stability and comfort. Nina shares the thrill of setting up her own house for the first time. Further assistance is given by government. While the land is not yet productive, every settler with a family of 4 receives a loan of $50 monthly as subsistence allowance and $5 extra for each additional child. This is not charity. All loans, whether money or materials, will be repaid when they reap the rewards of their labors. And in 4 weeks, 400 homes are established. The real challenge lies ahead. Pride of accomplishment in the first stages of the making of their community gives fresh impetus to the settlers. A shining achievement by ordinary people working in cooperation towards one idea, the goal of a bright future. It's only natural that a pilot project of the size and scope of ILAS should attract keen interest from state and federal authorities. A group of official visitors are received by the manager, an expert in agriculture and animal husbandry, who is in charge of running the settlement. The first phase of clearing and settling is over. Now the land must be prepared for the most important part of the program, planting of rubber, which is to be the major source of income. Simple tools in the hands of men who know how to use them become valuable instruments. Field officers give help and advice in contour marking. High-yielding rubber is to be planted, and the distance between each tree allows for cash crops, such as bananas and pineapples, to be grown. In time, each family can expect to earn around $400 a month. In the common nursery, rubber seedlings are looked after with loving care. Regular weeding is carried out, and the area is dressed with manure from time to time to ensure healthy, vigorous plants. But all this time, the people in the homes have not been idle. With their future assured, they turn to their inherent skills at cottage industries and put them to profitable use. The women and the men spend their spare hours weaving mats and baskets and other useful articles from raw materials that are always available nearby, thus helping the family budget. For others, like Muda and Mina, their leisure is well spent tending their little plots, growing a variety of plants and vegetables, and rearing poultry. All this will not only supplement the family diet, but will be a means of increasing their income as well. Farming and planting is hard work, and a strong and healthy community is essential. Each week, a mobile dispensary visits the settlement to give treatment to those in need of medical attention. Cuts and wounds are a daily occurrence. Now that a permanent dispensary has been established and a resident midwife posted, the health of the people is very well cared for. Opening up of new land brings along with it the menace of malaria, and the health authorities take effective measures to prevent an outbreak of this disease. Houses are sprayed regularly, and fumigation work carried out to rid the village of the mosquito. This is a progressive settlement. A school was needed, and the Department of Education provided the 300 children with buildings, teachers and equipment so that they will grow up with the same opportunities as those available to other children in Malaya. As the scheme develops, the people of Ayalanas are encouraged to take an active interest in their own local affairs. This meeting of village elders prepares them for the day when an elected local council will take over the responsibility of running the settlement in the way the people of Ayalanas would wish it to be run. This land development scheme is first and foremost an experiment in cooperative endeavor. The spirit of cooperation has enabled them to establish a central store of which all settlers are members. Here they can buy their provisions almost at cost, and the profits from this enterprise are shared amongst themselves. The community, after its initial labors, is now settled. The time has come for the next phase. Rubber budwood arrives, and the work of bud grafting begins. Expert advisors from the Rubber Research Institute visit the settlement regularly to encourage and direct the work so that success will be assured. To most of these settlers, who've been paddy planters all their lives, this is a new experience. Here, for the first time, they learn how to bud graft and acquire the skills required of a model rubber smallholder. Muda and his fellow settlers are quick to learn their jobs, and soon they work like experts, confident in their newfound knowledge. In between the growing paddy, the land is prepared to take the rubber plants. The settlers now put the knowledge they've gained into practice. Holes are dug to the right size and depth, and manure is added to make sure that the young plants get a good start in life. Nothing is left to chance. In a few weeks, the bud graft takes. It's time to replant the trees in their permanent places. The parent stems are sawn off before the plants are lifted from their beds and taken to the fields. The entire scheme will greatly depend upon how the plants take root and grow. But with constant care and hard work, backed by the skills of science provided by government, the settlement is well on the way to success. The people of Ayallanas reap the first rewards of their labor. The months of perseverance and toil have borne fruit. Bananas and vegetables are gathered. The rich soil has yielded a bumper crop. Mina's poultry has begun to pay dividends. There's enough for the home and more for sale. As the produce goes to market, a new level of prosperity is in store. And out in the fields, the golden grains ripen in the sun, a gladdening sight to the harvesters as they go about their work. This is rich reward indeed for labors of so short a time, a testimony to the vision of the planners and the faith of the men who made it work. So in the first year, the land settlement scheme at Ayallanas has proved itself. But more than that, it has given the settlers a growing sense of self-respect. Spurred by their efforts, inspired by their achievement, the people can now look forward to a future of hope and contentment. Hearts and prosperity round the corner, the villagers express their happiness in an outburst of merriment that gives full vent to their intense satisfaction. A new dawn breaks over the hills. A new day begins. Ayallanas, an experiment, is now a concrete fulfillment. A lesson for Malaya and even the world in the success of cooperative endeavor. The foundation has been laid for better living and prosperity for the rural inhabitants of our new nation. These pioneers of Kelantan march forward into the new life they've carved for themselves. they've proved that in this, our land of plenty, there is no need to be poor.